What is up, everybody? Welcome to the fourth day of the Ratio Proportions EOG review. Again, a little bit of notes, warm up, and today's bit is going to be a mixed review to get us prepared for the quiz tomorrow. Starting off with the warm up, number one, what is the probability of a coin being flipped heads and then another coin being flipped tails? So we have two coins being flipped. It's a multiple event, so we know that we're going to multiply the first event times the second event. Again, quick strategy, just the heads and the tails. Probability we get heads, 1/2. Probability we get tails, 1/2. 1/2 times 1/2, we got 1/4. Answer choice B, 1/4. Number two, which of the following is equivalent to the expression there? First step, we got to over under this first part. So -3 times 3x is -9x. -3 times -2a is +6a. I drop down -4x and -6a because they're outside the parentheses. From there, we can combine like terms. We have a -9x minus 4x gives us -13x, and +6 minus 6 cancels out. They make 0, and I don't have to show that, so just the answer of -13x. Number three, Mary bought a shirt on sale for $15. The sales tax was 10%. If she paid with a $20 bill, how much was her change? So a couple things going on. They tell us the original price of an item. They also give us how much it was increased by. So 10% sales tax. First step, let's figure out how much the actual tax was. So we're going to multiply $15 times 10%, gives us $1.50. We know with tax, we add it back in, so it's going to be $15 plus the $1.50 in sales tax, means that the shirt now costs $16.50. And then from there, we're paying with a $20 bill. So again, we know that the price started off at we had a $20 bill. We know that to make change, they're giving us money back. And that's the leftover portion, so we subtract. We have $20 bill minus what we paid for. We end up with $3.50. And last one, number four. Circle wheel has a radius of 8 inches. If the wheel spins 5 times, what's the total distance traveled? Well, again, first thing I do is I drew a picture of that circle. I gave myself the radius, and I also wrote this times 5 because I need at the end, I need to know, well, I need 5 of these because it's going to go around 5 times. Second part, we got to figure out what kind of problem this is. It's talking about total distance around. It's traveling, going around. So this is clearly circumference. So again, I listed my radius, I listed my diameter. Since it's a circumference problem, I'm going to use the diameter. C equals pi16. Pi times 16 is 50.26. But again, that is one spin, but it goes around 5 times. So we get a final answer of 251, approximately. Okay, so again, if you got to pause the video, go back through, copy down some notes, go ahead. All right, from there, daily dose of algebra. Again, we will definitely see something at the end of this month. Remember, break these apart, make these expressions a little easier to deal with. -12 plus 3 times x, all being divided by -4. First step, let's break it apart. So again, everything is going to be over there. The only thing you got to watch is -12 over -4 is actually a positive number. Again, we're going to follow the division rules right here. The negative divided by a negative is a positive. Then we have a positive 3x being divided by a -4. In that case, the negative will stay because a positive divided by a negative is a negative. Once you have the problem set up, pretty easy to solve from there. We're trying to isolate this -4, 3/4 x. The first step, I have this positive 12 over 4, so I subtract 12 over 4. 9 minus 12 over 4 is 6, and then the other side will cancel out. I'm going to drop down my box. -3/4 times x is the same as 6. Well, I said times -3/4, so the last step would be to divide by -3/4, and 6 divided by -3/4 is -8. All right, today we're going to kind of take everything that we've been working on with these ratio, proportions, and scale factor and kind of put it together. So, first couple on model, you should try a couple of these because they're definitely going to be on the bit.ly at the end and also the test tomorrow. So, rectangular sandbox has a length of 8 feet and a width of 6 feet. If the sandbox is going to be shrunk using a scale of 0.75, what will the dimensions of the sandbox be? So there's a couple multi-step here, but we're going to deal with the first question first. First thing I did, I went ahead and drew my actual sandbox. So I know that I started off with a sandbox that was 8 by 6, and then they shrunk it. So again, all I did, draw a smaller box. First off, we got to think about, well, it's being shrunk and they're using a scale. Well, this word of in math means multiply. So that means I'm going to take the length and the width and multiply them by 0.75 each. And again, if you were thinking to divide this to make it smaller, if you tried that, 8 divided by 0.75 would actually make the length increase. So again, you got to read carefully. You know that the problem, the dimensions are shrinking, so you got to make sure that at the end that they actually did shrink. Anytime you multiply a whole number times a fraction less than 1 or a decimal less than 1, things actually do get smaller. So 8 times 0.75 and 6.75 will give us our new dimensions. The new length will be 6, the new width will be 4.5. So right there, there's our answers. On the EOG or a test or quiz, it would look something like 6 by 4.5, and sometimes they put a little X there, time sign, to use for the word by. So again, that's what it would look like if it just asked me for just the dimensions. Board got a little crazy right there. All right. If you scroll down, we're going to use that same problem, but we're going to kind of add to it. So, next question. What is the area of the new sandbox? Well, again, that's the old sandbox, and now we have our new dimensions. Well, anytime we're looking for area of a rectangle, length times width, and I know I have my two dimensions, so 6 times 4.5, that means the area of the new sandbox would be about 27 square feet. Next one we're going to answer, what is the perimeter of the new sandbox? Well, just to help us out, I kind of took that sandbox and I redrew it. So remember, perimeter means the distance around the entire figure. So we knew the new length and the new width, but again, perimeter isn't just those two sides. It's all 4 sides of the rectangle added together. So what I did was just label all 4 sides. And again, perimeter is the total distance around the figure. So 6 plus 6 plus 4.5 plus 4.5 means that the perimeter of that new sandbox is 21 feet. And last question here that we kind of talked about, or last two, these kind of go back and kind of connect again. Again, we'd have to find the area and we'd have to find the perimeter to kind of answer these last 2 questions. If the school wants to cover the bottom of the sandbox with plywood that costs $1.25 per square foot, how much will they spend? Well, right here, this per square foot is basically telling you that that is definitely talking about area, because we represent area with square units. Right here, we have square feet because we're dealing with feet. Up top, we found out the length and the width of the new box. We also found the area of that box. Well, they're saying for every area, for every 1 square foot, it costs $1.25, and we have 27 of those. So all I did was take my 27 square feet, I times it by the amount of the price per square foot, and I'd find out that final price. If they wanted to cover the entire bottom of that sandbox with plywood, it would cost them about $33.75. And last one we'll deal with, this one's going to kind of deal with the perimeter of the box. So if the school's going to put a fence around it, so the first one we were talking about putting plywood in the middle, now they're talking about taking a fence and building it around the edge of it. Well, that's talking about perimeter. So they're talking about putting a fence around. Well, for every foot, it costs $2.50. So again, if I have 21 feet and they're $2.50 for every one, again, all I'm going to do is multiply 21 feet times $2.50, and that means that to put the fence around the playground or sandbox, it would cost $52.50. Again, these problems all connect, so these may all just be standalone questions here on a test quiz, EOG type thing, but you just got to think, what information are they talking about? Here they're talking about square feet, they're talking about area. Here they're just talking per foot, they must be talking about the perimeter. From there, we don't have a lot to try today because I wanted you to take time on the assignment, so pause the video, try these couple right here. When you're done, unpause, and I'll go over them. If you're ready, here we go. A rectangle has a length of 20 feet and a width of 10 feet. If the rectangle is shrunk using a scale of 1/4, what will the area be? So a couple of things. They give us a length, they give us a width. They tell us it's shrinking. So again, I know that it's getting from big to small. Here's my scale factor, how it's being shrunk. And then the most important thing is at the end, they do not want the length and width. They want the area, but again, I'm going to need the length and the width. First thing again I did was drew a picture. I listed my dimensions, 20 by 10. I know that of, again, means multiply, but I want to make sure that my numbers are shrinking. So 10 times 1/4 should be less than 10. 20 times 1/4 should be less than 20. When I multiply them, they do indeed 10 times 1/4 is 2.5. 20 times 1/4 is 5. Once I have my new length and my new width, I know that area equals length times width. So 5 times 2.5 means that the new area would be 12.5 square feet. So again, use the information that's given. Think about what they're asking you to do. You know you in area you need a new length and a new width. There it is. Second question here. The drawing below represents a flower bed. The flower bed is enlarged. So again, enlarged. Now I know that the flower bed is going to get bigger, and it's going to get bigger by a scale of 3. So again, I know I'm multiplying something times 3. If the farmer wants to spread dirt to cover the flower bed, it costs $1.25 per square foot. Again, right there, they're trying to tell me something. Square feet. Well, I know that units that are squared must be an area problem. They want to know how much money would it cost. So again, I took this picture. Well, this one's a little bit different. They gave me a square. Well, these all marks are called congruent marks. For every congruent mark, it means that the values are the same. So they told me that the side length was 9, but that just means that they're all 9. Again, I know that scale of 3 means I got to multiply the length and the width by 3. First thing I did, drew a new flower bed. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 3 is 27. I now have my new length and my new width. From there, I can find my area. Again, I know area equals length times width. So 27 times 27 gives me 729 square feet. Once I know the area, I know that it costs $1.25 for each one of those. So 729 times $1.25 means that the final answer is it would cost $911.25 to cover that new playground with dirt. Again, if you need any help, you can go back through the videos from this week. If not, your Bitly's ready to go. Raise your hand when you're finished, and that's it. Just be ready. Quiz tomorrow, test tomorrow on ratios, proportions, and scale factor.